Well, I know on the end we got down to where we did offer a compromise, and at the end I was talking to the governor quite often the last few hours before we went into committee. The amendment that was offered was would have allowed he's got up to 5,000 scholarships for those in the bottom 5%. And if those 5,000 weren't filled, then it opened up to more. And I think at first he was receptive to that, and then decided that he didn't want to go in that direction. He would just stay with his. So I met with Senator Gresham. Met with Senator Kelsey, and hopefully think we could come to some compromise. And I think that Senator Gresham would have gone with just the governor's plan. That's it. But Senator Kelsey seemed to be bound and determined. And I honestly, I disagree with it. I think something's better than nothing. That sometimes the search of perfection stands in the way of good. And at least we should have good and move forward some. But I left it up to my committee, and that's where we ended up. I think that after the negotiation going back and forth, the governor said we'll just come back to this next year. I think, but there probably were the votes to put that committee bill, that amendment on in committee. But at the same time, I think if Senator Gresham made a speech and said let's get something that's better than nothing, we could probably stay there. But we are where we are. I mean, this is one of those big issues that I think sometimes takes a year or two to pass. And I say big issues. In the great scheme of things, I think that the teacher evaluations we put in place were much more important. Doing away with collective bargaining was much more important. Making tenure something you earn was much more important. But this is a piece of that puzzle. But it does. I think anywhere will show you that it does not solve all the problems of education. But at the same time, I have a hard time telling parents who have their kids trapped in failing schools, especially in Memphis, that they can't have that alternative. So it is a piece of the puzzle. And I feel, but this time next year we'll work out something. That's one of the issues that doesn't always pass the first year.
Senator Kelsey told us last night that there were other vehicles that he was going to try to do.
I will discourage that highly. This is something that needs to go through the committee. This is something that needs to be heard in committee. That's where we have a committee system. And so this is not something, this is too big an issue to hijack a bill on the Senate floor.